Since the nether brain fell, you have continued to evolve. Thought is action, action is thought, speech is difficult. Your mind has voyaged to the limits of existence, communing with entities unique and wondrous. But something always calls it back. Back to Faerun, back to yourself, back to the beginning. The time before you became what you are. When your tadpole first sang in your mind, you are back there once again when a voice comes to you. Withers, who you know so well. It is time, he says, to meet with your allies once again. You dream of them often, and now you will see if your dreams have become their reality.
Thou wert called here, some from above, some below. For with thine bond, together thou hast kept the wheel of fate spinning when it threatened to halt. Though thou wert drawn far apart in the months after the collapse of the Absolute, tonight, fate renews thy bond once more. Thou shouldst take care to preserve it. It is a great weapon, wielded in the hand of good. Go. Know one another once more.
I cannot remember the last time I...
Well now. You can make yourself presentable when you have a mind to. Your higher form has brought with it some higher manners, then. Oh, forgive me. I am simply excitable. It is good to be out under an open sky once more. My first, since the reconstruction began. We left quite a mess behind. But the city begins to look something like itself once more. Same twisting alleys for purse pickers. Same wooden buildings ready to get burnt by next year's dragon. Same cisterns overflowing. Huh. The upper city has been almost entirely rebuilt. That's where the gold is. Even the builder's scaffolds are cleared from the streets. No dust left to sneeze at. Baldurians simply get on with it. Stubbornness, civic spirit, plain stupidity. Perhaps all three. But nothing I will sniff at any longer. Harpers have come from half the world over to lend aid. Farmers, masons, healers. My own son, Jord, has been wooed to their ranks. Already he plans crop cycles in Worm's Crossing. Not so for my daughter. Ryan's rejoined the Flaming Fist. Temporarily, you understand. To organize the craftsmen. Though she spends more time locking up comrades for pocketing aid funds. They might learn a thing or two if they don't expel her. Again. There is still much to do. People to house. A Harper network to rebuild. I may have little love for this city, but so long as my family chooses to serve it, I can do no less. The songs of my suffering will break hearts from here to the Hordelands, I am sure. Now, before this night grows any deeper, I must inspect the refreshments. You'll never know. Some ne'er-do-well might have tampered with the wine.
managed to survive without me. A welcome surprise. So, here we are. A gathering of allies at a cold campsite with no servants to attend us and few luxuries to enjoy. Ah, we could have been conquerors. We could have ruled these realms as gods. Do you ever regret that we did not take control of the Netherbrain? True. But what better revenge could there be than enslaving the abomination that was the author of my torment? I shall not dwell on the past, though. The future is unwritten and rich with possibilities. I feared that returning to the Underdark as an apostate of Lolth would be an act of madness. Perhaps it was. If so, it is a madness that fits me well. Rebels swarm to my cause, and even if it takes centuries, I will reclaim my house in Menzoberranzan. And make the Spider Queen bleed. I would no more allow a god to shape my destiny than I would a pigeon. You may observe my works if you lack sufficient occupations of your own, but do not interfere. Unless you wish to learn how fleeting divinity can be. I expect there have been other reunions to which I was not invited.
There you are.
There's something strange in your old friend's mouth. What is it? A familiar invitation. He wants you to throw the object he's dropped. But it isn't a ball. It's the astral prism. He whines. Less talk, more throw. A familiar sight. Scratch can't quite...
Starting to wonder if you'd show up. Honestly, so have I. Oh, come here, will you? It's been forever. You feel a little more substantial than before. Less camping and scrounging off the land, I take it. Filled out and healthy is what I was going for. Don't tell me you miss living off whatever scraps we found in crates and barrels. I'm glad you seem well. Truly. I had no doubt. But I'm glad to hear you say it all the same. Wandering, mostly. The adventuring life is almost a tonic when you're not constantly threatened by brain monsters and cultists. I can finally see the world beyond the cloister. One of my first stops was the House of the Moon in Waterdeep. It's the largest temple of Selûne in existence. It seemed like the perfect spot to reflect on my parents, on where they came from. And where I came from too, I suppose. Hard to imagine, isn't it? Me, of all people, in the lair of the Moon Witch herself. God, your truest act of heroism was putting up with all that char and drivel I was spouting for so long. Oh, I know they are. I can still sense them, I think. And one day we'll be reunited. Well, I've had run-ins with my former fellow Sharans on a couple of occasions. Word seems to have spread of what happened at the cloister. Now other chapters of Shar worshippers see me as a prime target to offer up to their lady as a sacrifice. Don't worry. I know their tired old tricks better than anyone. They'll need more than a hooded cloak and poisoned blade to best me. Especially when I have a friend on the inside keeping me abreast of their predictable little plans. None other. The matter of her faith and allegiances remains complicated, let's say. But she is still my oldest friend. I have hopes that perhaps she might turn from Shar entirely given time. But that's a decision she will have to make for herself. If that day comes, I'll be ready. I don't know. Which is just the way I like it just now. Perhaps I'll just stick a pin in a map and see what I find, or head to the docks in the morning and scrounge a berth to find somewhere new. I'd like to see the islands, maybe, or head south to Arm. I heard there's an enclave of werecats that hunt the followers of dark gods by moonlight. I'd love to see if there's any truth to that. But enough about me. What have you been up to? Don't be a stranger.
I expect there have been other reunions to...
Ah, my dear friend, it's been an age, has it not? You're looking, well... Our skeletal friend will be very pleased to see I found my way here, despite my invitation getting lost in the post. Oh, I wouldn't bother you with such things during a party. And anyway, I've gotten quite good at replicating your signature, so you needn't even bother with the release form. You might help me with the title, though. I'm considering The Hero and Me. What do you think? Me. It's all Volo as far as I'm concerned. Perhaps, once the manuscript is finished, you'd even be willing to write a foreword? Or better yet, I'll write a draft and you can just sign your name. Better still, I'll sign it for you. Hmm? Ah, your success really has been wonderful for my reputation. But you mustn't let me hog your attention all night, my friend. You've many friends to chat to, and I'd love to listen in.
There you are.
Well, well. Look what the Tressim. Professor Gale Decarius of Blackstaff Academy. Educator of the esteemed School of Illusion. A pleasure to remake your acquaintance. She did not. I'm delighted to report. I surrendered the crown of Carsus to her, as I told you I would. And in return, she cured me of the orb at last. Even now, I struggle to put the feelings into words. It was like exhaling for the first time after holding my breath for so very long. Of course, I haven't clarified with my students that the orb is no longer a threat. The legend of my explosive capabilities is an excellent means of controlling a classroom. Too good, if anything. I spend most of my time trying to convince them how much fun the study of magic can be. But it'd be easier to crack a smile on an intellect devourer than some of my pupils. Smiling may no longer come easy to you, but I've seen how your tentacles twitch at my jokes. Even the ones I'm not entirely certain I was trying to make. Still, I hoped my students might be a little more open to the playful side of such magic. Oh, they try their best, of course, when they can manage to stay awake. And what of you? What are you making of this newfound lease of life we earned? Quiet is not always peace. That much I can vouch for. But in your case, I think you deserve a moment's rest. I've told my students plenty of tales about our escapades. You're something of a hero to them, you know? I'll be delighted to introduce you to my current cohort as a guest lecturer, perhaps. I'm sure they'd have plenty of questions for you. Never fear. My students are as open-minded and... Of course, you'll be most welcome to stay with me in my town. It will give us plenty of time to catch up on your... I'm very curious to know what you've been up to these past months. So, in the spirit of selflessness, I encourage you to mix and mingle.
Oh, shit. Oh, my God. He wasn't kidding. With us, you mad bastard! You brought me back! Soldier. It's really you. Oh, I've missed you, man. Like, I've really missed you. And you're so tentacly. You can't miss it. So shiny. Haven't seen any mind flayers anywhere in Avernus, I must say. Never thought I'd miss them. War's a dirty business. But having Will around has been incredible. Fucker's even better at killing devils than yours truly. We don't have much time to chat, but just knowing he's there makes all the difference. Oh, but hey, guess what we found? Cambion dropped a map with directions and blueprints for Zariel's own private forge. A fucking forge! Our current plan is to get in, grab a smith, and force him to fix old Rusty. Or maybe give me a brand new model that can live outside of Avernus. You haven't seen the last of old Karlak yet, soldier. Trying not to count my owlbears before they've hatched. But can I look you up when I'm out? Hey, that would be kind of fun, though. High stakes hide and seek. Gods, is it good to see you again. To be here together. This won't be the last time.
A most welcome... For 2 months, Orpheus trained me in the ways of the comet. For 2 more, I skewered Kithraki bellies. And for 2 more yet, I traveled through Limbo. I never imagined we'd be standing toe-to-toe on this day, in this place. Nothing but allies, I always told myself. A necessary partnership. But in spite of every strained word, every barbed glance, seeing you brings me even more pleasure than taking a Royal Inquisitor's head. It's nice to hear it. It has taken all of Orpheus's effort. Worth it, I'd say. I miss this place. Shractalor. I wouldn't expect you to. The capital city of the Githzerai. An exiled people, once kin with mine, until the madness of civil war ripped our one sky into 2. Algish sent word of the rebellion to their god king Zareth Minyaragith through the cosmos. He's agreed to parley. It's fallen to me to secure an alliance. I was as surprised as anyone when Orpheus spoke the order. My blade is keen as ever. But it was you who showed me that a proper victory doesn't always require a razor-sharp edge. Sometimes, a sincere plea is more persuasive than a dagger against the neck. Minyara Gith is an ascetic. He reached out in good faith. This is his way. It is in this spirit that I must meet him. And if he refuses, I carry on. I am a warrior of the comet. I will not rest until I burn Vlaakith's bones to ash and smash her phylactery to pieces. My people will be free. But you've heard that refrain before. Zealous, bossy, insistent. All part and parcel of my undeniable charm. Soon, when the comet has risen, when the Lich Queen has crumbled to dust, I miss this place. More to the point, I miss you. I wouldn't even deny it with Vlaakith's vorpal blade at my neck. Though, I'd rather it not come to that. Now go. I'll be back one day. So it has. And a fine man the hatchling will be. I call him Zaan. Freedom. He is with the mages of Zamvadim. I trust his care to no one else. Zaan, no chains to bind us, no lies to bury us. Liberty will be the rallying cry that unites our empire.
Withers has a keen eye for a nice vintage.
Well, look who decided to turn up. I wasn't sure our withered old friend could live up to his promise. But here we are. At least I assume it's you in there. It's a little hard to tell. How have you been since, everything? I am glad. Genuinely. Few would make the sacrifice you did. I've taken a turn as an adventurer and hero. It turns out no one actually cares about murder, as long as you murder the right people. And apparently I'm rather good at it. Yes, but you say all sorts of things. Honestly, I don't even listen half the time. It has made for a nice change, though. Inspiring hope in people, instead of terror. Well, I do try to inspire a little terror. I'm still me, after all. I did at first. But then I realized. These shadows, this darkness, it's all a part of me. I spent too long defined by what other people did to me, the choices other people made for me. But this is who I am. That being said, I haven't completely given up on returning to the sun. If the opportunity presented itself, well, I wouldn't say no. But until then, I am happy. We've had from the moment I will miss our time together. But then again, see you.
I can eat a beholder.
There you are, my friend. Breathe deep. Can you smell it?
You take in every scent the night breeze carries. Sweet honeysuckle, tender violets, and an earthy fragrance you can't quite recognize.
Forest trees draped in moss. Bittersweet. A far cry from the rancid Avernus heat that's been clogging my lungs. I swear, Karlach and I have felled enough cambions to build a fortress with their horns. Who'd have thought that just one of those fiends held the key to escaping Avernus for good? One of them sported a map and some blueprints. If you want all the gory details, Karlach can fill you in. I've missed you too. If I had to do it all over again, and I'd rather not, to be clear. I think the splinters I made out of the last bone devil I saw speak for themselves. Not to pat myself too hard on the back, but I'm not such a bad ranger if I do say so myself. I've seen him more than a few times, and he's as proud of me as I am of him. He's leading the city's renewal, opened the gates to all newcomers, rebuilt the council from scratch, and he's back in his element, commanding the Flaming Fist with brave heart. The likes of Gortash can bend people's Bane's chosen, primed the fist for a war they weren't meant to win. With a few exceptions, Father's pardoned every last fist. If my forgiveness, he still believes in the bow and the blade. Valor is found not in the wounds you inflict. May they all take it to heart. Well, all wasting it.
I fear I am becoming accustomed to the taste of sun.
Oh, hello. Let me guess, you've got some suggestions about the music choice. You have no idea who I am, do you? I thought Withers might have set the stage a little. I owe him a favor, one he is eternally invoking. I thought honoring the worthy was a fair price to pay for Withers to pull me out of the fugue plane. Alas, one purgatory to another. Languishing in obscurity. Cyric knew what he was doing when he punished me for that song, the prick. Before I was banished to the fugue plane, I had song prayers coming out the proverbial ears. Guess how many I get now? None.
Musical prayers were once offered to Melil, Lord of Song, a minor deity whose worship faded after offending the trickster god Cyric.
I'm washed up, I'm afraid. You know. You're bloody right. It is an honor. Finally. The scribe picks an adventurer of substance, of culture. What can I do you for? Your wish is my... etc. What song do you want? Fantastic.
Ah, breathe deep, Boo! The smell of heroes sings from every stone in this place. To meet again where your journey began, my friend. An honor. For Minsk and his hamster both. Oh, and for Happy also.
Yes, honored, of course.
He is not a guest, but your newest follower. It is just this day that Happy learned of your legend, while we gazed down upon the very city you saved.
He dangled me from the high hall, upside down, for 2 hours.
The guild should not go creeping in high places if they do not have the stomach for them, hmm? It is well for Happy the strange portal appeared when it did. Minsk's arm was growing aexum. So I have. Though it is a peace made more from blade and boot than it is any sense of brotherhood. 9 fingers forbade any looting of the Illithid's fleshy vessels. And so Minsk guards what remains of the battle site. Even from her. But where Minsk might once have thrown any sneaking...
Yes, I'll rule it. I'll be better.
Oh, of course. It is still for Boo to decide if they live or die.
Oh, gods.
But enough, my friend! I cannot tell your tale if I do not know the whole of it. Minsk and Boo would know where you have been. what you have done. Boo has been admiring the sheen of goo upon your slimy form. He says it twinkles in the starlight. Now, halfling, Boo will not have you embarrassing him in front of his friends, so you ought to know the rest of the company you keep. Will Ravengard, the Blade of Frontiers, Devil Lae'zel of Creshkiller, true child of Gith, and true friend to Boo, though she will and say it is not so. Astarion, who is banished by the sun itself for fear his Spanish soul might outshine it. We visit him much down in the dark places, though he often moves his lair without remembering to tell Min Square. Gale, the man who would be a god, but then thought better of it. Boo thinks better of him for it too. Shadowheart, two gods dogged at her soul, but she managed to keep it all for herself in the end. Wait, Boo, did she do something with her hair? Halsin, Archdruid of Arch... somewhere. He is a much better man than he smells. And there, the champion of the Hells herself. Karlach Demon's Bane, Devil's Bane, Merkul Ball and Bane. Once the guild is made of goodness once more, Bull shall scratch the Hells wide open and find a way to bring her back. And finally, Jahira. If this is a name you do not already know, then not even Boo can save you. Study them well, sneak thief, for the best among them will be a guide for your guild. Heroes who put the city before themselves, who never falter in their duty. And more than this, who never arrive to a party without even a gift for the host.
But wait!
Go, my friend. Be among our friends.
I wish it could last forever.
Let's see.
I expect there have been other reunions to which I was not invited.
Withers can pluck wine from all over the world, but is there one bottle of fresh blood?
How else we learn what it is to be a hero?
Associates always been so ugly.
Another fair.
I said it to you, not them.
Then better you do not know.
Thank Mother Gith. The psionic projection is holding.
You would think someone of my vintage would be... It is one that can weather any distance. Any passage of time. I know it can. For I feel the longing for old friends in my heart each day. I always do. Should I ever decline, assume a doppelganger has taken my place. That was more than worth the wait. That was... Now, we have much to catch up on. In that case, very well. The old masonry of Moonrise Towers and Rythwin have been repurposed into new homes. And the land is rich with harvests and bountiful trees. Nature and civilization are in harmony. Stronger together. It is. We welcome folk from all walks of life. Anyone who wishes for a new start. You are... Now, please, they have all but exhausted my repertoire in but a few short months. You would ask to be tucked in next. But whatever the intrepid adventurer needed... More than a few, I should think. At least I am all ears. Though I never cared for that phrase. You have... I shall be... Now, it would be cruel of me to hoard you all to myself for the evening. As much... Quite often. They come and go as they please. But with so many playmates to avail of, they are far from strangers. They ask after you often. To make a child smile is to dabble with the power of God. I spend half my... As for roaming, that impulse has dwindled, I must admit. As did I, but somehow I feel like... Amazing what can be discovered about... before you go, I have something for you. Just a... Ducks are my... Yet, they always find their way back. Just a token to remember me by.
The whole gang is here. Wish I'd had time to polish up the birds.